to the Indie Wrestling Guy with your hosts, the Hall of Fame referee, JHawk, the not-so-mysterious benefactor, JGold, and the legendary Charly Butters.
Honestly, the thing that I'm starting to get tired of is the guy, like, he's trying to break it up, and one of the guys is so ham-handedly like this. No, don't. Like, dude, he's punching him with real punches in the face, and you're just letting it happen. Like, nobody saw what was coming. Everyone's like, oh no, I mean, he hit him like 20 times in the face.
The other wrestler telling him to give him a receipt. He's like, you know what that means, right? And it's just like, come on, dude. Sold his own guy out. Dude's out cold, and then they finally pull him off, and it just and then the other guy comes in and pins him. I loved it. I love that he got pinned after he was out cold.
Yeah, the guy,
out cold's not even the term.
The guy hit Rampage's kid with a beer can, I guess.
Right.
So
that was just like it was, and it wasn't even like a hard one. I think that was on that video, right? He was just like, pow,
yeah,
and the guy's
I've been
laughing
hit with
him.
glass at a show before. Don't matter. Yeah. Like, I'm about to go and attack them.
Like, I've been hit with a beer can at a show. Like, you barely even fucking feel it. Like, it's fucking stupid.
No, and then like
it compresses on your head. It's nothing.
The fact that he was like that amped up to go in there and do that, like, you still let him go in and do it without like making sure he understood that you have a responsibility to do it safely and to not injure anybody, and he still went in there and just literally did all that. Like, who told him that it was okay to do? Like, what wrestler
stupid idiots
that it was okay? Like,
the worst part of the whole thing is idiots. We're part of the whole thing. Like, if you're a fucking MMA fighter, you know when somebody's knocked out. Stop fucking punching when you know he's fucking knocked out. Like, even if you don't know how to pull a fucking punch, you know when the dude's fucking out.
Dude, that's the problem. He obviously knew it, and he was trying to kill that dude. Like, those are bare knuckle fists crashing into your jaw.
That guy might have told him to do that. He might have told him, like, we're gonna, if you knock me out, then just unload on me. And he might have told him to fucking do it. We don't know that other side. There's video footage of them planning everything backstage, so we don't know everything that was said specifically. Like, this guy could come out. He's in good condition now. He could be like, yeah, well, this was, that was the plan. Like, we worked everybody. Ha ha ha.
And I'm sorry, if the fucking work would knock me out, then punch me in the face 20 fucking times. That's the dumbest goddamn work I've ever seen in my life.
Hey,
that
man,
fucking stupid.
What can I tell you? Some wrestlers are fucking dumb. Like,
that's true.
His name is out there. He's very popular now. Like, he thought that would happen. Everybody, it would blow up, and then people would be like, do something for him, like, get him on TV.
How'd they get the plan of Butters and Zay Garcia at NeoPro? They copied your plan, what you were gonna do. God damn it! They stole your moves.
Oh, come on!
Oh my God!
My buddy Zay, I wouldn't do that to him. Come on now.
Right. Oh, it was the other way around. Zay,
oh yeah, he was gonna.
You were gonna hurt Zay.
Me out.
Oh, I got it. Right. No. Oh, those people are so dumb. And speaking of dumb people, JHawk, how was your trip to Vegas?
All right, motherfucker.
I'm kidding.
Well, aside from me hurting myself and my still not fucking 100 fucking % pretty good. Actually.
I mean, so yeah, that is on point. You are dumb because you fucking tripped over yourself to hurt yourself.
Wait, you didn't work though, did you? Or
yeah,
you
did.
Oh, you did.
I got hurt.
Okay, so what happened?
I was trying to get out of the way of the guy in the ring. I ended up tripping over my own 2 feet and kicked myself in the shin with my other foot.
And what happened? You broke your shins?
I didn't break anything, but I have a bone contusion and my lower leg is still purple.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah. Now if it would have been a normal show where I would have been home and not doing anything, my leg probably be healed up by now, but because I was on fucking vacation,
I broke it in my room
the entire I didn't break it. I just said I didn't break anything. Will you fucking listen?
I zoned for a second. I apologize. I'm telling you, my life is in shambles, JHawk. I apologize. I apologize a lot.
Yeah, but if it would have been a normal show where I would have been home the next day, my leg would probably be healed up. But I wasn't going to stay in my room the entire vacation. So I was walking on it when I probably shouldn't have been, which is why my leg still fucking hurt. But
is it bruised up?
Oh yeah. I just got it was fucking purple.
I want to see it.
Butter. I'm not going to show it to you.
Why not?
I'll be like, I don't think I can get my leg up high enough to fucking get it on camera.
I'm sure that they have like electric scooters you could have borrowed from like the casino to drive around in for the weekend. You shouldn't have been walking on it. You should have just scootered yourself around, brother.
Yeah.
If they were there, they were hiding.
I would have called and been like, "Hey, bring me a wheelchair or a scooter to my room right now."
You and Abby could have went around in wheelchairs together. That would have been great. Imagine that picture.
Yeah, you could have raced down the hallway with him.
Now it was fucking cool and cool though. Abdul the Butcher actually came in the locker room before the show.
Yeah,
gave everybody a pep talk. The entire locker room lined up to shake a hand, which was fucking awesome. Like everybody there, had the respect to go up and shake a hand. Every time I packed up Abdul the Butcher, the rest of the week, he reached out to shake my hand.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
What's he like?
Actually, no, he wasn't trying to shake your hand. He was trying to get you to give him money, is what he was trying to do. Every time he saw you, he was like, "Hey, give me money right now."
Wait, but what's he like, JHawk? Is he just like chill? Is he just a chill old man, or does he tell stories? What does he do?
I mean, I didn't get any one-on-one time with him outside of that handshake in the locker room, but he did a couple of the panels and was telling stories there.
That's cool.
And he went there to get an award. He was telling stories there. So,
did you see Fonzie or no?
Fonzie was not there.
Oh, okay.
I did see the one comedian that I follow on TikTok. He posted up his entire roasting segment, and I did send it to you, JGold. He was really good. I enjoyed it.
And Mickey Hyatt was really good. I've got her posted on my Facebook page. So
and that went well with Missy?
It went well with Mickey. Like Mickey didn't seem like she took the jokes that were coming her way very well, but she can dish it out.
That's cool. Who else was roasted that night? Who was on the dais?
All right, so comedian-wise, the big comedian was Alonzo Bowden, who won Black Comic Standing. Yep. And he was fantastic. The roast master was Bob Gainey, who did a very nice job.
Okay.
Most of the other comedians, the only other one that I even remotely recognized, besides the one that Butters mentioned, was the guy who used to host Street Smarts like 20 years ago. And he fucking sucked. Like, he was not the least bit funny. And he couldn't figure out why people didn't think he was funny.
I'm stunned that Alonzo Bowden, that's a New York comic that you guys got doing stuff there. I haven't seen Alonzo Bowden in New York in so long, but that's cool.
And the best part about his bit is he went on late.
Yeah.
And and like half of it was about how this is going too fucking long and what am I doing up here? And he looked over at Katie Lee Burchell, who was on the day, and clearly the youngest one there, and go, "Katie, look in the mirror. You have a future. What the fuck are you doing here?"
She doesn't. That's the joke. Wow. Well, that's fun.
Yeah, but the wrestlers they had up there, they had Greg the Hammer Valentine, who turned his thing into a pro-Trump thing, which that's not the right place for it.
Greg Valentine. Oh, my God. Yeah.
Jimmy Hart, who literally talked for 30 seconds and basically said, "I can't say anything bad about anybody." Mick Foley caught him and got off stage. A bunch of guys love Jimmy. That was kind of a waste.
Jimmy Hart hasn't changed his gimmick and has stayed in character for 80 years. I mean, it's amazing. He never breaks it. He's always that guy.
I think Todd had the like probably. I figured he had probably one of the better sets because like I know he wrestled for like a while, never really did anything, but like he's funny on TikTok, so I knew like he would have some good jabs at people, and I thought his was the best. Like his joke about Mick Foley looks like if Lou Albano gave up was a really great one. He got some huge laughs from people with some of his jokes.
That's a good one. I actually like that one a lot. That's a good one.
Roast jokes aren't my forte. And for the wrestling fan can attend it, forte
means something you're good at.
So did you have to buy tickets for that, or were you given those because you were working the show?
No, the roast you still had to buy a ticket for.
Okay.
And they did have some meet and greet that you had to pay extra for. They had a meet and greet with Natalia on Tuesday and a joint meet and greet with Foley and Abby on Wednesday that you had to buy extra tickets for.
But you were working. Why did you have to do that?
Because it's still because the way that the new head of the Cauliflower Alley Club is set it up, he's making it more of a convention thing instead of what it used to be, where it was all like specifically people in the business, and that then it wasn't a thing like that. Because like obviously, you know, JHawks met Stone Cold and a lot of people out there. There wasn't convention meet and greets back then for like those guys. You just went up to them and got a photo.
Yeah, and the biggest criticism I have beyond that, but I've been saying that for a while now that I don't like that. And the criticism is not even mine. Somebody else who was there for the first time gave me the criticism. Yeah. They said, "I love the vibe. I like how laid back it is, but nobody is doing anything to make me want to become a lifetime member here. They're not doing anything to get me back." And I remember my first one 20 years ago. Redback Dean was the president. He went out of his way to come up to me and introduce himself and get to know me a little bit. And I got introduced to the club through Percival, a friend who's no longer with us. But he got there and said, "Come find me, and I'll help you out." And he was introducing me to Ernie Ladd and Bob Orton Sr. and Gary Hart and guys like that back then. There was none of that this time around. Like, if you didn't know people, I can definitely see how you could feel like there was no effort being made to bring you back. So that would be
I wish I could have like hung out with Gary Hart back in the day. That'd have been fucking sweet. Just gain all that knowledge, send her to that learning tree for a while. That'd be dope.
That is cool. That sounds like a great trip. I would love to have done that. That's a really great trip.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. The panels were good. Malay Hokaka went off on the Glow Girl, which was hilarious. I'm sure there's a video of that floating around somewhere too.
Where did this happen, by the way? Which hotel was it in?
The Plaza.
Oh, okay. That was everything was in the Plaza?
Everything was in the Plaza. The only thing, it technically wasn't a Cauliflower Alley thing. It just happened to be going on that week, but there was a Micromania show at the Nerd Bar on Fremont Street.
Okay.
Which was fantastic.
Little people wrestling?
Yep. Just a little bit
of wrestling. Yes.
Yeah. I'm not trying to make a pun, but it's just a little 3-match show. We'll call it one.
Yeah.
Very short.
Very short show. Somebody made that comment in the crowd, actually. Well, that means already like a short show.
Oh boy, very short. Yeah.
And then Thursday and Friday, I actually flew out to Salt Lake City on Thursday to visit my best friend after 27 years of not getting to hang out with her. So, hung out with her for a couple of days.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it was a good trip, good time. And now I don't have shit to do for another year as far as vacations go. But
oh man, well, I'm doing a vacation tomorrow. I'm going to Six Flags Great Adventure tomorrow.
I organized a good chunk of my room for the main event marathon that we're doing this weekend.
That's going to be great. You have a good thing going. I like that. I think you found like the right thing to do that day.
Yeah, I'm excited to do it. Like I still change stuff even after I sent you photos. I still changed a bunch of stuff and put more stuff up and organized more stuff. So
the behind you, your background, like of all that stuff looks awesome. I think that's just a really good looking like that. And I didn't realize you had so many signed AEW figs. There's just so many.
And there's a bunch that I like don't even have up on display. Like I have all 3 of the Acclaimed. It's a box set Acclaimed. I have the Tony Storm that's not up on that wall. I have like 2 other Danhausens that aren't up on that wall. But like, yeah, I got a lot. And Rick just announced Danhausen's coming back to the Youngstown shop in October for a special meet and greet photo op. And then we got Foley on Thursday. So if you're listening to this, Mick Foley tonight at Youngstown, Ohio from 6 to 9. It's 60 for an auto, 60 for a photo, or 80 for the combo. Come out. We got a bunch of cool stuff to get signed and get sold. And then he told us that they're gonna start doing the Toyhio guest announcements for October. And there could be potentially 5 guests for this upcoming one. I know 2 of them. I don't know if they're 100. Like I know the contract's been signed. I can't say anything, but I know 2 of them. That's pretty interesting if we get them. I'm hoping the other ones are people that I want. I mean, these people are cool, but they're not ones that I personally care about.
Oh, okay. That's going to be interesting to think about it.
The pervs will be excited for it. Let's put it that way.
It's a perv guest. All right.
Yeah, the pervs will be excited.
I'm thinking, well, if you're not excited about it, then it can't be Sky Blue because Sky Blue.
She's a homie. She's a homie. Yeah. She's one of the homies.
But she's definitely a perv guest. Pervs would lose their minds for her.
It's not her. It's not Priscilla Kelly.
Okay. Definitely not Cora Jade.
It's not Cora Jade.
Whatever her name is. Elena Black.
I will say, I guess I'll tease it. They are on the TNA roster.
Ooh, is it?
How the fuck did you guess that? So yeah, that's all I can say about that. We got that coming up. That's what I'm doing. Then I got nothing until September 13th.
And we'll plug it again. We're doing the 12-hour stream on Saturday with the Main Event Network. I'm going to open it up with Kyle and one of the Sams from Sam's on Wrestling. And then Butters is going to be in the midday, right? Somewhere in the midday to mid-evening.
6.
Yeah.
With
late afternoon.
Great Brown Hope. We're going to rip some cards. I got some AEW Metal 2025s to open.
You know what I didn't realize, Butters? We should have tapped JHawk, unless you're working JHawk, to do like an hour of like your old stories. That would have been so. I think for the next one we'll get JHawk to do a story.
Old school JHawk hour.
Yeah, that's what the stupid Kyle hasn't asked that. We have to get Kyle to ask that because JHawk is full of information.
Yeah, we'll have to do that. We'll have to do that for the next one. I actually got an email earlier today that the Havana Banana released like 300 tickets for Saturday game in Pittsburgh, and I snagged those.
That's good.
I'm going to be hitting the Savannah Banana game on Saturday anyway. I'm not available.
Is it Savannah Bananas or is it one of the other teams?
Savannah Banana and the Tailgater.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool. Yeah, you got to do that.
It is the banana proper. Yeah, it's one of those deals where I really don't have the $150 to spend, but on the 4 ticket. But fuck it, like I came that close to getting them when they came on show the first time. I'm not missing it again.
Yeah,
that's God telling me get these fucking tickets.
I didn't know Savannah Bananas were touched by God, but you got to do that.
Shout outs.
Hello.
We got Zach, who was going to fly me all the way down to Dallas to watch his dog for like a weekend while they go to Mexico. How about that? But it's the weekend that we have the big wrestling show, September 13th, so I couldn't do it. So I almost had another mini vacation.
Zach, pick a different weekend so Butters could come down.
Bagelmonger, which you guys should be getting your cards soon. I just got the new stickers in, so I can finally send out your card packs this week.
Not the real cards, not the one that matters. The Wave 3.
Shut up! Yeah, I'm. You're not getting a card now. I'm done.
The JGold line.
Nope, the JGold one's
Damn
done.
it!
Burned. He burned it.
Damn it! Everything's falling apart, Butters.
And shout out to Patty.
Hi, Patty.
Who doesn't wrestle Rage anymore. She took this Rager off.
She took it off, and John Thorne got a hole in his arm the size of like a city, and she wasn't there to sew him up.
Jeremy was there. It'd be fine.
Yeah. All right.
Jeremy was still there to help everybody.
Yeah.
She just needed to take some time, and I totally understood. We talked on Saturday for a bit, so caught up on everything and made sure she was doing okay. So love you, Patty.
What's on this weekend?
Over on the Triller TV side of things, this Saturday, August 30th at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, Future Star Wrestling presents Future Shock live from Las Vegas. T4 against Con Osborne, Light Camera Faction and Warren Moore against Sander, Phil Godfrey, and Tully Bertorelli. FSW Women's Champion Gypsy Mac against Dana Lynn, and much, much more. That is Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern on Triller TV.
All right, I'm going to go with this one. Friday, August 29th on the Independent Wrestling Television Network, 8 p.m. bell time. It's that time of year. It's Beyond Wrestling presents American Rana 25. And that's going to be live from the, this says Rhodes on the Puxatawnet. Okay, I don't know what that is. Anyway, that is Ortiz versus BRG. The Wrestling Open Tag Championship Swipe Right versus the Shooter Boys. Now, the Shooter Boys are Creative Pro guys, and Swipe Right are those Evolved dopes. Miracle Generation versus Brandon Lee and Ichiban. I haven't seen Ichiban in a while. The Wrestling Open Championship, Bryce Donovan versus Bobby Orlando. The Shook Crew explodes. Chris Statlander versus Olivia. Timothy Thatcher versus Ryan Clancy. You got a tag match, Bear Bronson and Gabby Forza versus Cruel and Shotzi Blackheart. And the Independent Wrestling World Championship, Marcus Mathers, the champion, versus Matt Cardona. That is all live on Friday night at 8 o'clock on the Independent Wrestling Television Network.
I don't think Cardona's held that Indie Wrestling Championship. Maybe it's time for him to hold it.
Do they need to give him that? Honestly, I don't think it's necessary.
Does Marcus Mathers need to continue to hold it? He hasn't done shit with it.
Nope, he doesn't need it either. You're right. He doesn't do podcasts either. So,
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. After the last couple of champions here, I'm not even sure there's a need for the Independent Wrestling World Championship. But
I agree with you.
Point, but
yeah,
whatever.
I don't think there's not enough indie stuff going on as far as there's not enough talent being built on the indies right now with enough buzz that there needs to be some sort of belt right now.
No, it made sense
Jerry.
Back when AEW wasn't a thing. Now AEW's a thing, and that roster's thinned out so much on the indies.
Yep.
it'll never recover like that. I don't think.
And there's just too many rules. There's too much nonsense that goes into it. There's just zero reason that promoters have to keep that title on their shows. There's zero reason.
Yeah, when you can just have the IW Guide title on there, it's much better belt.
And it's easier to say IWG instead of IWTV. So just remember that. Easier to say, easier to book, cheaper rates.
I mean, personally, I wish they would call it the IWGP like it should be because it's the IW Guide podcast. But IWG is fine, I guess.
Well, I mean, IWGP kind of taken.
No, I was going to say, is that copyrighted?
Come on.
Trademark?
It could be two different ones. I mean, something completely different. It's not like we're using the same logo.
We're getting a cease and desist.
Yeah, we're
not like we had the same belt at one point.
Yeah, exactly. We don't have the same title or anything
anymore. But but come on, I get it.
Interviewing.
All right, this week we have the president of the Norfolk County Championship Wrestling Company from Ontario, Canada. We have Adam Martin with us today.
Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I'm excited.
We don't. First of all, this is our first foray over the border as far as guests and even promotions go. So that's pretty good for us.
So I'm the first one up from Canada to be on the show.
That's correct. So
amazing. I will take it.
Yeah. Not the first wrestler to work in Canada, but the first promoter and the first promotion to be on the show. So we appreciate that. So I have a question to start. I like to kind of get going into it, and we'll kind of hit up our stuff. But something I was thinking about, and we have a lot of promoters on, and I we know the scene here I live on the East Coast. I live in New York, and the guys are in Ohio. So my question to you is, and something I've been curious about is, what is the appetite in Canada right now for the indies? What does an indie promoter see as far as success goes? What does it look like for you out there now? Is it hard to sell tickets? Are people still having the appetite they did for wrestling? What does it look like right now?
Here in Ontario specifically, the independent scene is very strong right now, I must say. It doesn't matter what part of Ontario we're in, whether it be the territory that I'm in. If you want to go west to London way, there's a strong presence out that way as well. If you want to bring it closer to the most popular part of Ontario, which is the GTA and the Toronto area, there's several promotions that are selling out arenas weekend in, weekend out on a consistent basis. And then, of course, you want to go closer to the Ottawa area as well. And, there's you go north, south, doesn't matter which way you go on the compass, you're gonna find a hot spot with independent pro wrestling here in Ontario right now. I can't really speak more so outside of Ontario. I know Montreal's a hotbed as well in the Quebec area, but I don't really pay attention too much outside of those two provinces. Going west to Vancouver, that area as well, or the eastern coast as well in Halifax, Nova Scotia, that sort of thing. But specifically here in Ontario and the Quebec scene, it's just continuously, and it's pretty hot on a regular basis, I must say, which is great.
That's excellent. And so can you give us a little bit of background on yourself? How long has NCCW been around, and how did you get started? Where did this come from? Because we've had a few promoters. We just had a promoter from Mega come on, and he was a talent first, and it kind of 20 years later he's starting to do got the pen. Where did this come from for you?
So I'll start with Norfolk County Championship Wrestling. We've been running since early 2024, so not long at all. We're a very brand new promotion that has gained quite a bit of momentum in our designated area or territory in a very short period of time, which I'm very grateful and thankful for. In terms of being an athlete, when I was a kid, I did karate and baseball and never learned how to skate, which I know is very taboo for a Canadian not know how to play hockey. But I did the karate thing and the baseball thing and the chess. I wasn't really much an athlete. I was more of a snack eater, and I didn't really work out and keep myself in shape to be a pro athlete or anything like that. But I've always had a mindset for business and building relationships. So I think that's where it essentially comes from. Of course, the root, I should say, is being always a true professional wrestling fan. I love the sport of the business. I love the behind the scenes aspect of the business. I love building relationships where I'm from and within the community. And what better way to work on something and share something that you're very passionate about, and love to be that's basically raised you or babysat you as a child, and and share that with other people that might not understand how the business works, runs, or is presented on an entertainment level. So I was blessed to have a situation where in our area, Norfolk County, it's divided up between 6 or 7 little towns. So it is kind of like a very close and tight knitted territory, so to speak, where no one was running. And coming back home, because I've traveled everywhere, east, west, in the States, of course, as well. And coming back home, I found an opportunity to share my passion, present my passion on a grander stage and as a promoter and as a booker. So I would never get in the ring, even though a couple of times I've felt worse for wear after getting in the ring and the situation that has accumulated or presented itself while running NCCW. But athlete, no. Promoter, community man, and community involved, by all means, for sure. Wrestling fan, most definitely. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here, just like you guys, right? So that's where it comes from.
So who gives you your and being a newer promotion, do you have a talent that you lean on for, how am I putting together this match? How am I who's agenting your matches, and like how is that? Do you have someone on staff that's a talent that's giving you some guidance, or are you doing this by yourself?
You can never do anything like this by yourself. There's a lot of time and effort and work put into it. A lot of thought process that goes into each and every move, and everything has to be calculated, not only at the end of your nose, but long term as well. So there's a vision. Obviously, I have a vision on how I like to present the product, but there is a team. There is an amazing team, to be exact. And without that team, we wouldn't be where we are. And again, like I said at the beginning of the show, in a very, very short period of time. And you rely on people that know me and what I look for, but more importantly, can also have their pulse on the community and the fan base that are coming out to these events, because I can like something and they can like something, but it's about the people that are using their hard-earned money to come to these shows and enjoy the shows, and not just for matches, but the investment of development, the investment of emotion, the investment of staying on track and staying with us and paying attention to actually what's really going on there, the storytelling within the moveset or the ring, I should say, the matches themselves. It's not spot. Oh, that was a cool spot. Go on to a different show, but we actually have development. We use real life personal matters, because personal issues sell tickets, and personal issues bring people to your event, and they want to keep on coming back, because again, we keep it as genuine and real as possible. And we, like I said, to answer your question, there's a phenomenal team that have a great relationship with the talent, either being a former or a current superstar themselves here in Ontario, someone that's respectable, someone that has great relationships with a lot of different talent from the past, present, and of course the future, and of course someone that knows me on a very personal level, that knows what kind of presentation that I want to put out there and give back to our community. And again, it's a joint effort to make sure that everything clicks each and every step of the way. Like I said, very calculated. So there's an amazing team for sure. I couldn't do this by myself.
So you mentioned that.
I don't mean to cut you off, JGold, but along the line of you can do purple issue to go ticket. You're not running a weekly show. You're not even running a monthly show. You're running every few months. How do you factor in storyline when you've got 2-3 months between show rather than coming in month after month?
So our storytelling and our development just doesn't happen in the ring or at a live event. We present it in between those 2 or 3 months, like you said, that we don't have events running. And the reason because of that, just to put a little bit more perspective, is we don't want to oversaturate our territory. We know that if we do a live event 2 or 3 to 4 months In between, there's that little gap, and then another 3 to 4 months, we have another event. We're not taking advantage of the people that love the sport of professional wrestling and love to come to our events, but engagement is still the process. Engagement is still there on a social media level, and we like to think because we use personal issues, we're not sitting there going, oh, what if so and so does this and this and this and this and this? No, we just feed into what's already there, and we elevate it to a whole new level and give it a stage that third or fourth every month. So that personal issue can be displayed in front of a live audience. So I think that's where the investment comes in, with the fans wanting to keep on coming back, not only keep on coming back, but maintaining interest on what we have going on and what we're offering, not only to the talent to display this personal dispute in front of a live audience, but the emotional investment, as I mentioned earlier, for fans to come to the show and see the payoff or the blow off.
So you said before, and JHawk, this kind of goes into what you were just asking too, but you mentioned like your staff and the vision of what you want this to be. What do you want the vision to be? What do you want NCCW to be when the fans come in? Like, we have schools here. When you go to a show, it's a school. When you go to AIW in Ohio, exactly, you get that ECW feel. When you go to GCW, you get that, crazy, unexpected lunacy. Like, what's your vision for what you want NCCW to be when people come to your shows?
So when we put on a show or prepare a show, promote a show, the talent that we choose to select and the ones that, come knocking on our door to ask to be a part of our show so they could actually, resolve some of these issues that we've talked about earlier. We look for talent, and I'm a big NWA buff. So as a promoter, I look at skill set in the ring. And I look at the technicality of the ability within the athletes that want to come in and perform for our audience specifically. Everyone that, of course, you need your microphone skills. You need to, as an athlete, in my opinion, need to be able to draw them in with your words, but you keep them coming back with your in-ring ability. So again, to answer your question, it falls on, at the live event itself, we have a family-friendly presentation with great technical wrestling. And the reason why people are there because of that 2 and 3 month gap is because the personal issues that we've displayed or allowed the talent to display on social media to our audience. And they know that the payoff is going to come in between really good, fast action technical skill inside that ring. So in my opinion, NCCW we try to resemble the good old days, in my opinion, of what the sport and the purism of professionally wrestler was. Not more of a sports entertainment type of brand. Of course, it's entertaining, but we find our fan base, they love the high, fast-paced in-ring action that makes sense. The moves displayed or the damage being done. The match itself tells the final chapter of the story that we built up to on social media. So if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Tell it. So we have a lot of, I would say, between me and Butters, who does his side of things with Neo Pro, and JHawk, who's been around forever. We understand, New York, when you run a show in New York, impossible. Getting the regulations, they regulate it like it's boxing. So you have to pay for the doctor. You got to pay for the ambulance. You go to Ohio, it's less regulated. You go to New Jersey, it's not regulated at all. It's the Wild West. What is Canada as far as their regulations go? How is wrestling now regulated? Is it regulated? Do you ever say to yourself, we're going to do, a blood spot, we're going to do tubes, or no? And where you are, that's not really the place you want to go, or the province doesn't let you do that. What are the regulations like for Canadian indies?
As far as I know, there's no regulation.
That's great.
There is no regulation. Like there's if people that want to come to, say, for an example, like an all hardcore show or death match type of event, they know they're not going to come to Norfolk County. They can go into the bigger city like Toronto or Hamilton or somewhere like that and find that type of entertainment. As far as I know, because I know people that run that type of event on a regular basis, they do no ring. They do ring. They use a lot of weapons, light tubes you mentioned, glass, thumbtacks, all that good stuff. I think the only thing they haven't used is potentially fire, but that might be a building code issue and more of a safety issue. So they haven't gone that far, but from what I know, that they've had no hoops to jump through in order to make that production happen, and for that to be presented in front of their specific audience that likes that type of wrestling or that presentation or product. With me, if I go to one venue, I potentially don't have to go through our county, which is an old-fashioned mindset, an old-fashioned way of doing things in terms of you need this, 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 and this. But it's not like I'm going out and getting my own doctor, my own, that sort of thing. I might go, okay, I need $2 million liability on insurance because I'm using a county building, like an arena, for a bigger show. But if I go to the building next door that has a lower capacity and isn't county owned, there's nothing stating that I can and cannot do anything within that venue specific. So it's pretty much the Wild West, I would say. I don't know other parts of Ontario or other parts of Canada, but I know within Ontario specifically, it's pretty much not a pure sport. Like I've ran combat sporting events too in the past, and you need to jump through all those hoops. You go through the Ontario Athletic Commission like you would in New York or New Jersey or any other state that has a commission that runs that sort of thing. And pro wrestling, fortunately for us, there's the double-edged sword there because, in my opinion, I think it should be treated like a sport, but we also don't want to have to jump through those hoops to be established or recognized as a pure sport like combat sports like MMA or boxing.
Yeah, and you say that it'd be very difficult to run, and you and I mean you can see it here in New York how few companies, even though people talk about in the old days, people wanted to work Madison Square Garden and whatever, it is virtually impossible out here to run a large scale wrestling show unless you have some sort of money behind it because of the regulations. However, and I don't know how much you watch the social media for like the indies out in this area, but New Jersey, we run at the Mecca and they run shows 3 times a weekend and somebody died in the ring. I mean, there's just been, it's just been a mess out here, and each state has its own issues, but a place like Ohio, you can see, AIW's and Neo Pro, their influences with ECW on what they're doing, and their influences of even like ROH, as it goes. So I think the more we get to find out, I had no idea. I didn't know how. I know Canada takes their wrestling very seriously. I would have thought more regulation, but it's good to know that there's less, that you don't have to get a $1,500 doctor for a show that, that break the bank for.
No. Fortunately, we don't have to do that. Now, again, like I said, I consider myself to be an older mindset of the sport of pro wrestling versus the entertainment. I love the entertainment aspect of it when called for. And again, I think some of those old traditions and some of those old ways that have removed itself from pro wrestling from the 85 era and on has taken away of what people thought about wrestling. And I think now it was at that point in time, I think it actually hurt the industry because they took specific things like that away, the realism behind it. And I think it's been an uphill battle since to re-legitimize, what it used to be. And I don't think it can ever get back to that mind frame for people that come to a show. They're like, don't worry about it. He drinks a beer with him and he drinks a beer with him after the show. It's all good, high fives. They're just out there having fun. Well, in some cases they might be having fun, but if there's a dispute that needs to be settled, then they go out there and they perform and they're putting on an exhibition. There's some still realism to that, and that's the stuff that I appreciate. The people that take it seriously, they try to do their best to maintain that kayfabe atmosphere for the fans' experience, because I think it comes down to the fans' experience all in the end. Not so much, again, the talent themselves. Yes, for sure, 100%. The promoter has to be there. The talent has to be there. The ring's got to be set up, the guardrails, the chairs, all that good stuff. But ultimately, you're relying on people to come and pay this and be entertained and enjoy what's going on at your production, your venue, your show. And if 50% of the audience love the realism of what pro wrestling used to be, well, guess what? You just lost 50% of your audience nowadays in most shows and most productions, I think.
It's very tribalist right now, too. I mean, you either have, and I would assume, I don't know how much other, I don't even know, Butters or JHawk, do you know, is Alpha One in your province also? Is Alpha One in Ontario?
Hamilton, Ontario. I
Okay.
lived there for 7 years. Great promotion. Alpha One's one of the strongest promotions in our hotbed of wrestling right
Yeah.
now. They're about an hour and a half east of where I am. So, I say, for example, I'm in Simcoe. You get to Brantford, you get to Hamilton. And you're getting closer to that Niagara region before you head into St. Catharines and Niagara Falls before you cross over the border to Buffalo and all that. So,
And is that Greektown also up there?
Greektown's in GTA, I believe. Yep, in the
Okay.
Toronto area.
Okay.
So you got Destiny, you got Greektown, you got Alpha One, you have Smash Wrestling, which is I would say one of the biggest ones, the longest running ones that's very respectable. And they put on amazing shows and they've helped a lot of talent get to a bigger, higher level. Right now, we've just see the reoccurrence or the resurrection, I should say, of Maple Leaf Pro. That Mr.
right, with Scott
D'Amore is,
D'Amore, right?
left kind of border city out of the Windsor and the Western region on the back burner. I think it still runs here and there, but Maple Leaf Pro obviously has taken over as his main priority, and he's taken that back to a whole new level again with everyone that he's bringing in. Not running consistently, as he probably has been known to do. But again, Maple Leaf Pro is a pretty big deal coming back to Ontario, and so that's great to see.
Yeah. Do you collaborate with those guys? Do you guys ever come together on on travel? And because I know a lot of the indies here, to get these big names, to bring guys from Japan, to bring guys from other countries, they split the travel. They have a guy do a tour. He'll go from Ohio to Illinois to Indiana and do those three, and the promoters will team up. Do you guys ever work together as far as collaboration goes?
I work more so with U.S. promotions to do that. But again, I'm going to somewhere in the vicinity of where you guys are in the Ohio region. I'm asking that promoter out there, saying, "Hey, you know what? Send someone up here. Maybe I can send someone down there, so to speak."
Sure.
I know there's an all women's promotion that you might be familiar with, Divine.
Okay.
We have a solid women's division here. No matter who you look at. The roster, they have a lot of accessibility to a lot of talented women that are coming out of Ontario right now, and we like to try to help out by saying, "Hey, you know what? Send some women from Divine who want some more exposure and stuff like that up here in the Great White North, and we can send people over there as well. Exodus Pro,
Yep. The NWA territory franchise or whatever that is.
it's NWA affiliate. Ran by a very smart businessman when it comes to running a pro wrestling company. Someone that I like working with specifically. I've had a bunch of their talent up here in Norfolk specifically. Everyone that they've sent over to me or I've had on our shows is fantastic to work with. Very easy. And when you have an easy day at the office, you have an easy day at your event and you have a great day at your event. So very much kudos to Exodus as well. Sorry. And then in terms of other promotions here in Ontario, I think some do work, not me specifically, but I think some do collectively, because you'll see a name like, I'll say Dijak, for example. I've seen Dijak come up and work Toronto, and then he'll go somewhere else, and he'll go somewhere else in a string of dates for a weekend or something like that, and then he's back in the States.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure, but there's a good idea or a good chance that, potentially they've teamed up to cover some costs, which is smart business, in my opinion.
Sure.
Sure. They each get a taste of that specific star power in their territory alone, right? So I haven't had the opportunity to really build that relationship with promotions in Ontario, but I reach out to promotions in the States like the Neo Pros or the Divine Pro, or specifically in this case, I work with Exodus quite a bit, and I get their talent to come up here quite a bit, and there's a reason behind that. So that's who I prefer to work with continuously.
And you couldn't do better. Yeah, you couldn't do better. PB's a great dude. To have him on your show, and
love Smooth.
He's a great guy, and I'm glad to see him.
Hayden Backlund was our first ever NCCW heavyweight champion. He held that championship for a year. I have so much respect for Hayden Backlund. He said a lot of crummy things about Norfolk County and my hometown, and the people that reside here. But what a great person inside the ring, outside the ring, an amazing talent, and to see what he's off doing ever since he won the NCCW Heavyweight Championship. Now he's a tag team champion in Black Label Pro. He's consistently on Exodus shows. He's done some bigger and better things, and I like to think in the back of my mind, not only is his unreplaceable skill set have a lot to do with that. But the fact that, he's been up here in Canada and he was our first ever NCCW heavyweight champion had a little bit but again, the talent speaks for itself with that kid. Just a professional all up and down from start to beginning, from the beginning to the end.
Sure.
Unfortunately, he's no longer with us in our roster due to the last match. But just some examples, PB Smooth, Hayden Backlund. I love talking with someone like EC3, just to take the professionalism and their mindset and pick their brain a little bit. Very helpful, very positive energy that you get from people like that. So I like to surround myself like people.
Excellent. JHawk, Butters, you want to go? I got more stuff, but I'll let you guys jump in and then I'll start blabbering again.
Okay, I got one more question about kind of the operating a day-to-day operation of a wrestling promotion like that. How do you balance when to bring in a name compared to when to bring in local talent compared to bringing in somebody like PME, if, for example, that you've been bringing in? How do you balance like how many co-called names you bring in and comparing to outside talent in comparison to?
So for me, PME, they're welcome back anytime. So in my mind, they're already a regular for NCCW. Marino T and Philly C, they couldn't bring the representation that we look forward in our brand any more than they already do. They were a natural fit. Of course, it helps to know some people that know them.
Sure.
And that's how I was introduced to them. But once you meet them and once you see them perform and the reaction that our audience here, which is in my opinion, they watch WWE or they maybe watch some AEW, but they're not following the independents like a diehard would, right? They follow us because we represent our county, our town, our district, our territory, whatever you want to call it. But I think a lot of people, sure, they watch WWE, but you miss a lot when you only watch WWE. And I think PME is a prime example of that. I didn't really know much about PME until I heard about them from someone that works for my company and does commentary, actually, introduced me to them. And someone that actually does the booking aspect introduced me to PME as well. And I'm sure as hell glad they did. Someone like PME, to bring them in, anytime they want to come, they're more than welcome. So for bringing someone like that in, there's no thought process about it. Now, if you look at my card on October 25th, not to plug anything specifically, but Clash on the Coast.
Plug. Go ahead.
A special event that we're hosting on October 25th in our neighboring town, Port Dover, Ontario, which we ran a couple times previously last year. We're doing a big double-day event, and what happened to us in Norfolk County. Our municipal government offers a program called Amplify that allows a nonprofit organization to receive a grant. That grant goes to the nonprofit, and the nonprofit organization, I'm not going to mention any names, Port Dover Board of Trade, but they were very kind and generous to think of NCCW for a unique presentation, a unique event, because we're all about rodeo, concerts, food vendors, food trucks, fairs, that sort of thing, stuff that we get each and every year, no matter what. We automatically get that. So this was an opportunity to create something different, bring something different to Norfolk County during an off season. If you don't know, Port Dover is a beach town. It's a port, literally. A lot of people flock to the Port Dover area from all over, just for the beach, the water, the restaurants, the fish, the fine dining, all that good stuff. But other than that, there's nothing really much going on. You'll have your for July 1st parade, but during the fall time, things settle down. People start not coming as much around because, again, they can't go swimming, they can't enjoy their ice cream, all that good stuff. Long story short, we are granted this connection with Port Dover Board of Trade. You mentioned talent. When do you decide to bring in special talent? Well, given this situation, this was a perfect time to bring something unique to Norfolk County that has never been done before, and to use grant money that was given to us by the county, handed to us and said, okay, run with it. Do what you can do. Work your magic. Make something special happen, which I feel that we strongly have done. Veterans like Jacques Rougeau, if you don't know, the Mountie, are coming into town. Someone respectable, former Intercontinental Champion, Tag Team Champion, WWE legend, in my opinion, one of the greats. Someone like Al Snow, who's running now OVW. But again, everyone knows him from, what does everybody want? But there's more to him than that. Smoky Mountain Wrestling. We have TNA, ECW, WWE, a lot of experience and a lot of talent that he still possesses and knowledge that he brings, and we're bringing him up for October 25th. You look at Jody Threat, who's a big name in the women's aspect here in Ontario and Canada, and she now works for TNA. Had to have Jody on the show. So there's a prime example of some names that we thought we would bring in. I mentioned Dijak, formerly just off of TV about a year and a half ago, I would say. Very talented, very respectful man, runs a gym, I believe, as well, or at least does some training and stuff like that, as well as compete for MLW. And boom, bring in Dijak. Someone that brings a little bit different opportunities for us to present to the audience in this situation because of that program that was granted to us. So that's a prime example of when we might look at somebody outside the box, and work with our developed and recognized talent based out of here, Ontario. Everyone, some people that don't understand the business, they might be like, well, you're just bringing those in to generate more ticket sales. Well, obviously the objective is to break even. If we break even, we're happy. But the real goal here is to present opportunity, not only for those bigger stars to come here in our audience and people of Norfolk County and the surrounding area, because we're bringing people outside of our own area and territory to this event, during an off season here in Port Dover, but we're also giving our talent, the talent that we work with regularly, the talent that travels around Ontario, the odd time maybe into the States, an opportunity to work with these bigger names and build their own relationships outside of the ring as well as inside the ring, for them to present their talents, their skills, and hopefully it opens the door for something new for them. So that's when I decide to bring in bigger names. Sorry, Jared, if I went on a little bit of a tangent there or evaded away from your original question, but ultimately that's the finish line. That's the goal. And that's when we decide to bring in someone like the names that I mentioned before, as well as EC3, of course, Pretty Boy Smooth coming back. We've had him a few times, but EC3, of course, we've never had, which is great. And then Steve Macklin from TNA.
Sure.
I was able to negotiate with TNA that if Steve Macklin was still the TNA International Championship, he will be able to defend that championship at our event at Clash of the Coast in Port Dover. So whoever gets that opportunity to challenge Steve Macklin at one of our events, it's a huge opportunity for that talent. And that's why that's when we bring in the special names, or the bigger names, the well-known, recognized names that we might not have regularly here available to us in Ontario.
Okay, now who of the Ontario-based talent should we be keeping an eye on?
Okay, well, there's too many to name all at once, but you're looking at guys like KPK. You have Ahmed, you have Harun, you have Abu. They're a trio, they're a faction. There's a couple other members, but we haven't had them in NCCW specifically. But if you're looking at tag team and singles, these three could do it all. Sometimes they're a bit of a pain and disrespectful to our community and audience. But as athletes standpoint, amazing in-ring ability, above and beyond, in my opinion. So always look out for the term KPK, the faction KPK. The names Ahmed, Abu, and Harun, great. As much as they are a pain in the butt, they're very much respectful to the business. They love what they do, and they do the best they can do each and every time they come to the inside and out, building up to the show and during the live event.
Where did they train? What do you know? What should we know about them?
So they are out of the GTA area. Scarborough area. I believe they train with a gentleman by the name of Shane Saber.
Okay.
And a few other great names. Do you know the name Shane Saber?
We do.
I do, actually.
Yes. Yeah. Love
Shane. Shane's the man. Very, very a true veteran here in Ontario. He's been anywhere and everywhere. Wrestled any big name that, where there's something big on the line. Mm-hmm. And, if you hear the name Shane Saber and followed by, or that before the pretense is that guy is trained by, and you hear the name Shane Saber, you're looking at something special. And that's my opinion. And I think a lot of people agree on that. As a person, the trainer, Shane, the talent is absolutely phenomenal. So if you were trained by Shane or you train with Shane and you hang around that circle, I think it's worth keeping an eye on those guys.
Nice.
They just won Destiny Tag Team Championships not too long ago as well. And they're in our semifinals for the tag team championships to crown our first ever NCCW tag champs too. So there's some credibility right there as well. Plus numerous other promotions they've wrestled and continuously. Now, some other names that I would look at, of course, we've already talked about Hayden. He's from, the United States area, Buffalo, of course. I love Hayden Backlund. Specifically in Ontario, though, you're looking at, there's a gentleman by the name of Wade Allen. Wade Allen's a big boy and a very talented big boy. And him and I, when he first bursted into NCCW, he was not welcome in NCCW. He intruded. He invaded our first ever event and made a decision to interfere in our main event match. He cost someone that was on the cusp of winning our first ever, or being crowned our first ever NCCW heavyweight champion last April. Cost that guy and helped out Aiden inadvertently, but he was making a statement because he's passionate about being a part of something that's very, very important. He was excluded from our first event, which was really, really important for our area, our territory. He made a statement. Him and I have had our ups and downs. We were able to sell them after a full year, but a super talented guy. Can tag, can do singles, can do hardcore, can do deathmatch, can do any situation that you put him in. And again, a guy that gets along with everybody backstage. So a very well-respected talent as well. Pretty Ricky Wilde. Are you guys familiar with Ricky Wilde?
Yes, I've seen him at Old.
He's a gorgeous gentleman. Pretty Ricky, it's in his name. Gorgeous gentleman. If you haven't had the opportunity to check him out, definitely check him out. He's the only man, other than Hayden Backlund, to hold our NCCW Heavyweight Championship. He also runs Brantford Wrestling in Brantford, Ontario. I mentioned Brantford earlier. They're about 30 to 40 minutes away from us going east, en route to Hamilton. Pretty Ricky Wilde is a one-of-a-kind athlete, a one-of-a-kind person, a one-of-a-kind superstar for Ontario. He's, again, wrestled any type of match you can think of. He's wrestled every big name that potentially has come through, and he's helped develop a lot of young talent into stars, and they are in. A man that I actually really respect, love to work with, and I'm proud to say is the NCCW heavyweight champion is Pretty Ricky.
Nice.
Okay, let's kind of shift away from NCCW a little bit here. You live in Ontario, big wrestling history throughout. I mean, obviously Maple Leaf Gardens had so much great talent. You mentioned Hamilton, you've mentioned Brantford. Tell me a little bit about what made you a fan of professional wrestling living in that area.
Growing up at the age of 3, I would have been 1988. Someone in my family, I don't remember who, if it was my grandfather, my dad's dad, had the television on, and boom, what did I see on the television? Pro wrestling. Instantly hooked. That's what did it for me. I can't tell you who was on the television. All I know instantly, there was a connection. There was a bond. There was something that clicked in my brain that said, you know what, you have to watch this. I watched it, obviously, become a fan instantly. And I don't know if it was because the action in the ring, people like Jake Roberts on the microphone, where you had to pay attention to actually what they were saying, because they were very precise and very, very well at almost manipulating you into having to listen to them. And maybe even not at that age fully understanding what they're saying, but you knew that enough, even if you didn't understand it, you cared and you wanted to hear more. So it was either the in-ring stuff, it was either on the mic stuff. I don't know what the combination, maybe a cocktail, a little bit about both. But I knew since that moment, I was always going to be a professional wrestling fan. That's what did it for me. Latest memory that I have in full detail was going to my first ever live event at Hamilton Cops Coliseum. Watching guys like Hogan come out, the Aura, Jake Roberts, the Demolition, the Hart Foundation, Bret Hart, specifically, watching guys like that come into the ring and get the reception that they deserved, and the performance that they were able to put on in that ring. And again, at that age, of that mindset, it was still real, right? Like, it's still real, but at that age, we're not shedding news links and dirt sheets and all that stuff. You went there and you really legitimately invested yourself. So that investment on an emotional end and becoming a fan in that route, that manner, I don't think kids today will ever realize or understand, because everything's so accessible before it even happens to the public eye.
Who was your guy, by the way?
What's that?
Who was your guy? Who was your guy? Who was your guy? Bret Hart always. That's your guy.
Bret Hart. Best there is, best there was, best there ever will be. By all means. But I also loved, if you go to singles action, Bret Hart. But if you go to tag team and singles, I'm looking at a guy like Bobby Eaton.
Good. All right, there you go.
I love beautiful Bobby Eaton. Yeah. And in my opinion, him and Bret Hart were the two best pro wrestlers to ever step inside a squared circle. And Bobby Eaton as a singles, Bobby Eaton as a tag team. It's truly a work of art. And just even thinking about it, it gets me Makes me sad that he's not around anymore, just because of what he was able to do inside that ring. I have all his matches on burnt DVDs and on the drive and everything like that. And I listen to, I love Jim Cornette. I might get some booze for that one from anyone listening.
Not for me.
I love it. What's that? Sorry?
Not for me. I think he's great for the business. He might be an idiot, but he is fantastic. Any story he tells is just top notch. There's nobody
right?
Might not be a better storyteller.
He doesn't lie. I don't think he lies. If he does, it's accidental. It's misinformation, maybe that he can't remember to his own ability. But him working with the Midnight Express,
sure,
that time frame and rewatching all that stuff was just it was the greatest thing. And then of course Bret Hart. A lot of people criticize maybe he didn't have the mic skills, but he had a damn good sense of humor that I think went under the radar when it came to his promo skills. There was little things that were dropped in there that I don't think a lot of people picked up on when he was on the mic, but in the ring, there's no one better.
But did you know he's never hurt anybody ever? Because he likes to tell everybody.
Never heard that one before.
Never hurt anybody. He always talks.
I heard that.
Oh my God!
I know he's got hurt on a couple of occasions of his own. I remember one time distinctively with Dino Bravo on the guardrail. He broke his ribs, and there was the one other infamous.
What was your opinion on that, by the way? The dark side of the ring for Dino Bravo. Did the Mafia kill Dino Bravo? Is that what happened to him?
Hells yes. Yes,
nice.
They did. Yes, they did.
Thank God. Now we got into some real stuff. Let's go. Some hidden Canadian gems right here.
I feel bad.
I like that.
Bravo, but unfortunately, in my personal opinion, yes, that's exactly what he was.
But he was a monster star, right? Like up there in that time, like he was a monster star. They did him dirty and once he came to WWE.
He was a monster in Montreal.
Yeah.
And it helps that you might be your own promoter for your own company too. You can put yourself in that position. I mean, I don't know anybody else like that. Dusty Rhodes, but Dino Bravo did what Dino Bravo I think thought was best for his promotion, and he had a lot to compete with, especially at the time with the territories closing down. So I think in his mind, of course, you put yourself at the spot to save your baby. But you're absolutely right. I heard you say the words that they did him dirty.
Yeah.
And I think, you get a good sense of that watching Dark Side of the Ring, to demoralizing him and humbling him to a point where he could never actually recover from, unfortunately. Could they have definitely done more with him? By all means, for sure. But I think they could have done that with a lot of guys at that specific period in time. They had a star-studded roster. That how do you fit everybody into a main event spot? How do you give everybody a turn to give their opportunity to shine? When you have guys like Jake, Hogan, Savage, you still have to deal with Andre. You still have to deal with at that time, I think Big Boss Man was a big star, coming up either a face or a heel, challenging Hogan. So you had a lot of variables that came into that play. And it's unfortunate because the decision for Vince McMahon to buy all the top talent from everywhere across the nation and beyond and put them all in the same promotion all at the same time really limited and forced a couple of guys not to be able to shine. JYD, prime example. Amazing Louisiana, top guy. Comes to WWE, boom, where's your spot?
Cartoon character.
Unfortunately, you can be a mid-card jobber at best.
But I mean, when you look at how much everybody loved Dino Bravo in Montreal, let's say, and then you bring him here, and he's Bruno Sammartino basically in Montreal, and then he comes here, and he definitely becomes a cartoon villain, just like JYD became a cartoon face, and you just use guys like Big John Studd as a villain instead of as a monster heel. And you just didn't do it right. And I'm sure in Canada there was some heat, with being like, what happened to our guy, right?
And the best part is, I think he was supposed to beat Hogan in Montreal, but they botched it. I can't remember exactly if it was either a count out or if he just didn't beat him at all. Sorry if my memory isn't serving me right, but there was an opportunity for him to face Hogan in Montreal, and they were afraid that, because they knew that, Hogan was going to be the heel in that situation, and Dino was a saint. So, the only French Canadian that I know that actually beat Hogan in Montreal was Jacques Rougeau.
Gonna say, yeah.
I'm trying to remember that story as well. I want to say that they advertised Bravo against Hogan up until like the week of the show, had a near sellout, then all of a sudden they changed it completely.
Yeah.
To where Bravo didn't even get the match after they'd already sold all the tickets and basically killed the town for a while.
Oh, that's garbage.
Yeah, I think you're right.
That's some carny stuff right there, JHawk. Woo.
Yeah, but I mean, you mentioned Jacques Rougeau, that international promotion in Montreal. The Rougeau got the top. They did the joint show with the WWF, and people were coming to see the Rougeau and the Garvin. And the WWF time, okay, at night they're here, but Deke are our guy.
Yeah, these are our guys, loyal fan base, and of course Hogan and Jacques were friends. So there was a mutual respect there. And if you heard Jacques on podcast or anything like that, he praises Hogan for everything that he did for him, including laying down and taking defeat in front of his hometown in Montreal, which meant the world to Jacques. So,
what about for you? What about for you as far as and your promotion as far as a guy like PCO? Does he still hold a weight? Is there a loyalty to him as well in Canada, or is it kind of because he made his comeback in like 2019, 2018 on like Flow Slam at Janela Spring Break or whatever it was with Walter, and what's the thoughts on him up there? Is he a draw?
I think he would be in Quebec.
Yeah.
I think fans still respect him and love what he's doing at his age, and I think he's more than capable of doing it, which he's shown and proven by all means. Mm-hmm. For my specific, like the audience here in Norfolk, and it's no knock to him whatsoever. I don't think a lot of people would recognize or know. Just because they're narrow, they're closed-minded on what they watch and what they're exposed to. I think here a little bit more than other areas like the GTA. In the GTA, by all means, a lot of people would know him.
Is it a lack of and forgive me if we backtrack just a little, but in Norfolk County, is there an appetite for American indies, like saying, okay, we watch IWTV or we downloaded the Triller app or anything like that? Or is it very traditional and conservative as far as viewing for wrestling?
I think it's very traditional, very conservative.
Okay.
In terms of, we have our WWE. There might be some AEW fans out there, scarcely throughout there. But I don't think it's like in the States or other parts of Ontario where it's like, you mentioned IWTV. Well, you have accessibility to all these other promotions just with a monthly subscription, and you have the exposure of everything, so you can watch anything and everything. Now, I know people that sometimes go on YouTube and they'll do their search, and I've had people that I know personally tell me that they've watched more independent promotions because they've came to a live event for the first time here in Norfolk, and it exposed them a little bit more to what's potentially out there other than the big three.
Sure.
But I think on a large scale, I think everyone stays pretty close to home and they have that conservative viewership in terms of, we're either watching WWE, used to be WCW, now it's WWE, maybe AEW, which is two totally different styles. But I think up here, because we are so close to New York, that we give, we have our alliance or our loyalty lies with that WWE programming.
Speaking of tribalism, yeah, it makes sense. Butters, you good over there?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't want to talk over you too much if you have some stuff you want to do, so.
Yeah, I got some my usual stuff. We'll mix it up a little bit.
Okay.
What's the worst ring name you've ever heard?
The worst ring name?
Yes.
Oh, that's a good question. I don't want to put
somebody right off the road.
Let's do it. Norfolk Burial Ground.
The Mountie. No, I'm joking.
No, he's coming up here in October. I can't say that.
I'm kidding around. I remember controversy about him even being called that.
I need some good Canadian shitty names. I need something Canadian. Like, give me something.
I wasn't prepared for this one.
This specifically exists because of Kevin Steen, because the worst one he's ever heard of was a guy called Little Asshole, that apparently wrestled up in Canada somewhere. That was his name.
I don't know that one. I don't know that one. You know what?
It's spawned this question for everybody. Yes,
I will 100% agree with Kevin Steen on that one. That has to be. I've never heard it, but now that you've mentioned to me, and if he said it, it must be true. I'll go with Little Asshole. But off the top of my head, I'm trying to think of a name that I said, oof. I can't. One that's made me like flabbergasted or rattle my brain.
I feel like you're very that Canada is a little too nice, and I feel like I feel like you don't get those like, God, what a fucking asshole that guy was, and here's his name. Like, I feel like we're never going to hear that out of your mouth or out of the people who are listening, watching your show. I'm like, oh my God, wait, he's too nice to ask us to ask him to bury somebody at this point. There's that Canadian sensibility coming out of you.
Oh, I can bury it. Just I literally can't. I can't think of anyone that I've come across or heard the name that I was just like, pardon my French, but that's a shitty name.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to. Like, I can't. Everyone that I've worked with and stuff like that, I've never had a problem with their name or anything like that. Or maybe. I can't. I honestly, and this is genuine. It's not just me being Canadian or afraid to bury somebody in a sense, but I can't think of a name specifically where I was just like, you stumped me, literally. I can't think of someone going, oh, that's a terrible name. Why would they use that? You know, I can't think of something off the top of my head. And it's not just because I'm nice, but or Canadian.
What's the coolest venue you've ran so far?
Maybe to that one by the end of the podcast, and
sure.
maybe by then my clouds might have circled a few times, and we might get some raindrops to formulate something like that.
So, like, what's the weirdest or coolest venue that you've promoted in so far?
Well, I've done very minimal in terms of venues that I've used because we're such a small town and we have very limited access to specific venues and we don't have the size. You're either going big, like an arena, or you're going to somewhere like a Legion. So we don't have like a sports arena or anything like that.
What about where you've seen it? Where have you watched either independent wrestling or where any cool venues that you've seen it before?
Parking lot, outside. You know, I'm not used to seeing too many shows like that, so that threw me off. To see legit, like I think it was a Walmart or a Zeller's parking lot somewhere, and I can't remember the town, but it was in my opinion the definition of what backyard wrestling would have been. There's no organization, no actual pure wrestling, or see, I'll bury somebody. I'm not that nice.
But are there shindies? But let me ask you: are there shindies in Canada, or is it just a strictly American thing where you get like a show running at like Bill's House of Underpants, and then people are like doing a show in there? Like, do you guys have shindies there, or is it really like more high end?
It's higher end. Yeah, we don't.
See, I knew it. That's why they don't run like that like we do here. We don't have guys who got into a car accident and run a show in front of 13 people, but pay for like their payroll is $10,000 as they do it in the parking lot of a Chili's.
So the weirdest place we've had on the show so far has been a funeral home that they actually had a wrestling show in. So
hell yeah.
Was the grand finale like the main event a casket match? No, I'm just.
I don't know. That's a really great question. I should have asked that.
It should be no disrespect to whose funeral it was, but
I don't think there was anybody being buried.
It was a funeral. I think it was just at a funeral home. Yeah.
You don't think the service was going on?
I'm pretty sure that they were not. It wasn't an active funeral while they were doing a spot, but.
You know what? This is Johnny's last wish. Wrestling event at his funeral.
Little John wants to beat on another guy.
That's what I want for me. Yeah.
Honestly, I'm saying it in all seriousness. If I'm the first one of the podcast to go, somebody figure that out. Figure out how to do that.
I promise we'll be wearing ref shirts too, JHawk.
We'll have you pose like you're counting, and then we'll have somebody, move your hand. We'll put it on a swivel for you to count.
Sticking out of the coffin as he taps for 3.
So I usually ask Waffle House, Sheets, or Wawa, but I don't think you have like any of those up there. So what's your Tim Hortons order? Because I know you guys have those up there.
We have Tim Hortons. We have Starbucks.
Do you have a specific Timmy order when you go to Timmy's?
I have a specific McDonald's order.
Okay.
But what I like to do, actually, it's a combination of 2 restaurants. I'll throw you a curveball. So what I like to do is I like to go to Burger King. I like to grab a Bacon King sandwich.
Okay.
And then I like to find the closest Taco Bell.
Here we go. Now we're talking.
Crunchwrap Supreme.
A Crunchwrap Supreme. Okay.
You put beef Crunchwrap Supreme halfway through the Burger King or the Bacon King, and boom, you got yourself
fuck yeah.
Wow.
See, now that's it. I'm doing that tomorrow, actually. That is the best thing I've ever heard. Yes.
My friend and I did it right before we worked together when I was doing something else, and I worked with someone I consider a brother. We did this, and I just got the idea on my spot because he legit asked me, "Hey, do you want to go to Burger King?" Sure. You know what? I'm kind of feeling like Taco Bell right now. So we went to Taco Bell. And then I'm holding these 2 things, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck. Pardon my French. Screw it. I'm gonna
curse all you want. Don't worry about
it.
We just lost King Cobra at JFS, so that's something he would do. I love it.
So he did it as well, and I just remember we're eating outside, sitting on the curb in this little grassy area. We're just eating. Halfway through, I can look over. I got sauce everywhere.
That is great.
He's flat out on his back, just laying in the grass area, moaning and groaning because he basically needs 911 called to resuscitate him. And one of us went home that day.
I'm doing it. That is it. I'm doing that tomorrow because I'm going down to Great Adventure, Six Flags Great Adventure on the Jersey Turnpike, and I'm stopping at the rest stops on the way down. And that's what I'm eating, and I'm saying it's you who did it. Yeah,
I would do it again.
Hell yeah,
I would definitely do it again.
Yes,
I have a great life policy, so.
Sorry, Butters, didn't mean to derail you. Now my brain is going in all different directions.
Right now, you're just thinking about Burger King.
I might have to do that after this.
So I'm going to put you on the spot with the next handful. These are usually like first thing that comes to mind with these. Have you had any crazy fan interactions being the promoter? Have you had to deal with anything crazy, or has everything been pretty smooth with the fans? You haven't had any fights or anybody come at you for any specific reason?
I've had people yell at me, but nothing crazy. I've had people want to get out of their chairs and get in the ring to stand up for me. I've had at the same exact moment, I've had the same people on the opposite side of the ring want to get in there and see me get beat down. When I was in my feud with Wade, because he came in as an invader, like I said, and I had to put my authority down and prevent him from doing any harm to our events or not supposed to be there and stuff like that. But Wade won the crowd over, and it put me in an awkward position because I'm for Norfolk, by Norfolk, and this guy comes along, and you could hear the reaction and see the reaction, the body language of the audience. They love this guy. And there was one point in time where someone wanted me to see, I took lashings after a stipulation. One of my hired guns, if Wade lost, he had to leave. If Wade won, he gave me 10 lashings. Now, Wade Allen, I think he's just over 300-pound monster. So if he wants to lay it into you, he plays baseball a lot. So swinging a baseball bat versus swinging a belt, like my leather belt that I took off my pants in the moment, ripped my back up a week before my wedding. So maybe the biggest interaction that I had was after the event with my wife, where she legitimately wanted to kill me. That could have been the most intense situation that I've been placed in as a promoter. Prior to that, a couple months before that, Wade also put me through a door unexpectedly, and my wife wasn't happy about that one as well. So I think my biggest threat outside the ring, I think it's been my wife, to be honest.
Good answer.
And she's a little spitfire. She can, she might be 5'0", but she got fists of fury and words that lash you harder than that belt, I swear.
Who's the funniest wrestler that you've worked with?
I'll say 3 names. Pretty Ricky and KPK Crew, definitely. And this isn't intentional, this isn't like I'm gonna make this guy, I'm gonna break him type of funny or anything. This is just genuine, just who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Makes you laugh in a positive way. So Ricky, I would say KPK Crew. When they come out, you never know what they're gonna do, and how they react with the audience. And as much as you don't like to see your hometown fellow Norfolk community get picked on, there's the odd time where you have to chuckle and be like, oh damn, we got him. There's just things that they do and say sometimes that kind of breaks you a little bit. And then I would have to say Wade Allen's pretty funny too. He said some stuff that has broke me, not in public, but I still consider it a break if it makes me laugh. Either way, even if I watch something back in production room or on post-event editing and stuff like that, you didn't get to catch it live, and then you catch it on film, and you message them and be like, hey, you got me at this spot. So those are the 3 that I would say. I mean, that's technically 5, but at the same time, one faction.
Who's the strongest, like pound for pound, the strongest that you've got to see? Like,
in my personal experience, getting put through the door by Wade Allen was I knew he was a strong guy, but he put me through the door, and I think I was fine for a day, and then I was in the hospital for the next day or the day after. Maybe I waited 2 days, but I had a concussion from the event.
Oof.
That I had to deal with, and I didn't know about it until a day or two after, and Wade outside the ring is one of the softest spoken people I've met, but in the ring he's all business, and especially when you go out of his way to make his life potentially hell. He didn't take too kindly to that, and I legit went through that door and I went to the hospital. A day or two later, after the event, once the bearings kind of settled again, I realized, oh, you know what? I'm legitimately, I'm pretty hurt up. I'm pretty banged up. And then his last was too. But I've actually only been struck by Wade. So in my example of the strongest person based off my experience, I'd have to say Wade Allen.
Okay.
And then probably in general too, Wade would be one of the strongest that I've seen him against his opponents as well. So I think that title, in my experience, goes to Wade Allen. Pretty boy smooth.
That's a big boy.
He goes up there as well, I must say. Definitely, I would say those are the top two.
What about most technical?
Most technical. Oof. That's a good question. Most technical. I'm trying to think of everybody that I've had on the card. We just had Von Vertigo, V-Guy. As much as he is flashy with some of his moves, he's also very technical. Rajan Husher. He's good friends with the KPK crew. He's very technical as well, or can be. He can brawl. Don't get me wrong, he can brawl, but he's technical in his movement and the way that he sets things up. In terms of in-ring technical ability, in terms of they're doing stuff like you would see like Dynamite Kid or Chris Benoit or Bret Hart do. In terms of that sense, Benito, Junior Benito's up there as well. Kyle Boone, I have to speak highly of, even though he's a pain in my ass to deal with. He'll tell you a million times that he's still undefeated in NCCW, rightfully so. But a million times he'll tell you that. Very technical as well. And then, you have a woman up here by the name of Bea Moss, who in the women's division is very, very technical, or Alexia Nicole, who's very, very technical. Two fabulous women that lead the reign right now in terms of being 1-2 or 2-1, depending on which order you put them in. I think they're very technical up here as well. Up-and-comers like Wanda Del Rey. And then there's just so many names to list, but I think that would generally cover my experience within NCCW on some talent that are considered very technical wrestlers, whether in their performance with their moves or just the way that they work and react inside that ring.
Butters, if I could just ask one question real quick.
Sure.
Anybody that your fans have been asking you to bring in that you haven't brought in yet? Is there someone on the indies, whether it be American indies or Canadian indies, that you're like, the fans are like, hey, can you get this guy? We'd love to see this guy. Is there anybody that you have an eye on that you're trying to get in?
Not at this particular moment, because we covered some of those bases as of October 25th.
Okay. Makes sense.
Dijak was one of the big names.
Amazing.
Someone said, you know what, bring in Dijak. Can you bring in Dike? I get that quite a bit, actually. And he was the first person I reached out for October 25th due to that reason. High demand for someone like him to come in. There's a gentleman by the name of Puff.
Yep.
He's a monster man as well. I get that a lot. Some people do want to see Puff come in. He actually, in other promotions, he sometimes teams with Pretty Ricky Wilde. I believe it's Triple Dragon or Double Dragon. Sorry, guys, I can't remember your tag name, but I know they do team, and they're very entertaining, and they're very talented together as a team. So Puff is one of the names, and
Puff's a Buffalo kid, Rochester, Buffalo, right? Yeah, he is.
He's a Buffalo kid. You got it, 100%.
Danny Garcia, that whole crew.
Another name. There's a tag team called the Slime Balls. They've been asked to. We've had people ask them to come in. I guess we do have some NWAs in there too, because of that traditional presentation of pro wrestling, right? So we get a lot of the NWA talent that are up and coming. Requested as well most recently. But
lots of Smashing Pumpkin fans. I
came across Slime Balls on TikTok, and I'm a huge fan. I like what their presentation.
Yeah, it's different. It stands out to me too.
Yeah, I actually was talking to NeoPro and them about bringing them in and giving them a shot, because I think they got something. I feel like they're not going to be around a super long time to do a lot of stuff if they keep up the way they've been going. I think they're going to be somewhere bigger sooner rather than later. So
yeah, I could see them going somewhere in one of the top three for sure in the very near future, based off of just how they present themselves out of the side of the ring and what they do inside the ring as well. Great workers, it seems like. I've never had the pleasure of having them up here at NCCW, but I've talked to them very, very briefly. Very respectful on the way they handle their business outside of the ring as well, on the booking aspect. So that's something that goes a long way with the promoter, I'm sure, as well. in terms of what you're getting as an athlete, not just inside the ring. So slime balls, I would say, are someone that has been requested. Shotzi was another name that got shot around. No pun.
Yep.
But passed around too for more of a women's division opportunity there. And Jody Threat, of course.
Is she Canadian? Is Jody Threat Canadian, or she is, right?
Jody Threat, yeah. She's GTA.
Okay.
Yep. Well respected. I'd say the top female name in Canada.
No shit.
Jody
All right.
Threat. And I remember Jody Threat. She might kill me for this when she sees me in October, but I remember when she was a manager for a faction called, I believe, the Riot Makers, or a tag team called the Riot Makers.
Okay.
Mark Wheeler, Stratosphere, and I do apologize to the other gentleman, and Albright was his last name.
Brent Albright?
Yes. Thank you very much, sir. I think she came to my first ever show in 2017 when I lived in Hamilton. This was an NCCW. This is just like a one-off show in Hamilton. And she was managing that faction. I believe she was still just training. She might have had some experience under her belt, but very minimal at that point in time. And to see her from 2017 to current and modern day and where she is, and it's fascinating to see, and that's the stuff that you love to witness with Canadian talent, all talent, of course, but it means a lot more when it comes from Canada and specifically Ontario in the hotbed of the GTA. And then, of course, that's the whole idea behind NCCW is presenting those new opportunities. So, people starting off like she did in 2017 can go off onto these bigger organizations and really show their skill sets and represent Canada the way that she's been doing. Amazing. But Jody was the other big name that I wanted to mention that people have requested, and that's why she's coming, because I'm a man of the people, baby. Man of the people.
Excellent. Anyone who puts a crunch wrap on a Baking King is all right with me forever. So, you man of the people, you got me down here in Long Island. I'm all in on that.
I don't know any other person that's done that. So
I'm in. I'm 100% in. I'm still thinking about it. I might have to leave after this and go get it. So sorry.
Well, that's awesome. Extra sauce too. I recommend extra sauce.
I'm all in on it.
I was gonna circle back around and see if you had thought of a name yet for the worst name, but
if I grabbed my phone and searched, I could probably find something. But
and why is it PB Smooth?
I can't think of a name.
Why is it peanut butter smooth?
Why is it PB Smooth? That's all I want to know. You can tell him that I said it when you see him.
Oh, jeez.
No.
Okay, and circling back to something we talked about earlier, it was actually earlier than I realized. The Hogan Bravo match that didn't happen was actually in January of '86.
Okay.
I don't have my copy of that particular Observer that breaks everything down, but it was supposed to be Hogan against Bravo, and then before the card actually happened, they changed it to Bravo against Big John Studd and Hogan against Bob Orton.
Did Bravo beat Big John Studd or no?
He did.
Okay, good. At least they gave him a win there.
Right.
Get all over him. Yeah, that's ridiculous. That Dark Side of the Ring was one of the sadder Dark Side of the Ring. Just how his family talked about it at the end, like just his untimely ending was just horrible. So
it was terrible. It was terrible. I mean, again, speculation or opinion or whatever you want to call it. Everything pointed to some illegal activity there potentially due to a downfall in the career, and unfortunately, some people might feel that they should be put in that position or should put themselves in that position to do things like that. Allegedly, be involved in things like that, allegedly, where it might cost you, and you never know when that might happen, or the situation is just unfortunate because, like you said, when he was wrestling in Montreal, for that company and the promotion in that province of Quebec, he was a megastar, and then just see him come up and be humbled like that, and the way that the documentary really showed it, it was sad to see, because it's happened more than just him. Yeah. And it's a lot of people that we liked watching on the television, and to see a lot of these guys now talk about their story and their time, their 1 minute of fame in the business, and you don't really know what you have until it's gone sort of aspect. I think that's a prime example of that situation. You mentioned sad, this might be off topic and I'm sorry to detour, but you mentioned sad episodes of Dark Side of the Ring.
Yeah.
Earthquake.
Oh,
Yeah.
You know,
John Tenta, that was
yeah.
a heartbreaker. That was a tearjerker for sure.
But you know what's interesting, and these guys can speak on it too. I was at the AIW 20th anniversary show, and Derek Dillinger, who does a lot of work, is their head trainer and works all the different areas. He introduced me to his daughter, who is a student over at AIW, and
wow.
it was
Wow.
and look, I'm 47 years old. I was she's only in her 20s. I was like humbled to meet her. She's a chaplain as her shoot gig, and like she's just the nicest human being. And I didn't want to go over I didn't want to go just start rattling off, hey, let me tell you about my experiences watching your dad. So
Yeah.
it was just fascinating to meet her and see that there's a representation of his family that is still doing it, and she is a great representation for him. And yes, you're right, it was a sad episode, definitely.
I was gonna say, yeah. Out of the children, you wouldn't think that she might be training for wrestling, but there's another surprise because again, like you said, during the documentary, she was very. You see the genuineness, the big heart, the soft demeanor,
Yeah.
the whole episode itself was a focus, and I think the prime example or the prime feature, as much as it was about John Tenta or Earthquake, I think the family and what he had was a major part of that episode, and the legacy that's now carried on through that, whether they wrestle or not, what he's left behind in terms of his children. I think just in that episode alone, it was just like, damn, like. You really felt it, and it was very emotional. And that's one thing I love about pro wrestling is it makes you feel certain things like that sometimes. And you can watch football, you can watch hockey, you can watch baseball, and sure, you can cry about your team not winning a Super Bowl. You can be upset that your team didn't make the playoffs in the MLB. You can, your NHL team up here, Toronto Maple Leafs, they've been killing us for decades.
I'm a Ranger fan. You don't have to tell me any of that. I know all about it.
We watch all these other sports, but when you turn to pro wrestling and you hear stories like this, and you remember growing up as a kid watching that athlete perform and put it all on the line and risk it all each night in, night out, just to put food on the table, and the way that everyone talks about Mr. Tenta, John Tenta, Earthquake, the type of person that he was all about his family, and you get to see that it hits you different than any other sport, I find, because of that emotional investment, that personable feeling that you get or have with these people telling their stories, even if it's not the athletes themselves.
But I agree with you, but I think also, and something we've learned as a group and interviewing so many guys and hearing so many stories, is that when you do find, because the business in the 80s was those guys weren't all they weren't angels, let's be honest, and a lot of them were garbage. And to find those people who are good people, and then their stories are that sad, I think it hits you even harder, because when you find someone who is not a complete carny who is trying to take your money from you, it just hits differently, that you find someone who's good and that's their untimely ending. But before we get to our plugs, one more question I have for you is, who right now is your favorite? It could be indies, it could be television. Who's your favorite wrestler right now? Who's the guy that you will stop everything to watch at this very moment?
Very, very, very good question. A few years ago, I could see WWE, and it doesn't sound like I'm answering a question, but I'm getting there. A couple of years ago, I could see a certain individual that wasn't actually in the wrestling business, potentially being brought in and bringing in a new audience. Someone that naturally took the ability off the hop to a whole new level. Like, people talk about Kurt Angle and how quickly he picked up the business. When you look at someone like Logan Paul, and you see, I'm joking, it's not Logan Paul.
I was going to let you go. I thought you were making a comparison. I was going, okay, let me see where he goes with it. Okay.
No, but the comparison in terms of Logan Paul and seeing someone like that bring in a new audience to WWE, specifically to get that new fan base, they were kind of stuck on a flat level. If the mid 2010 era, they were stuck, they flatlined. And then someone like Logan Paul and a couple other celebrities, that came in, brought in that new audience. But I was kind of ribbing you with the Logan Paul thing. And the answer was really important and deep. I love watching Logan Paul, and I predicted that he would go into WWE before he did. And I'm glad he did, because he's an amazing athlete. But the one guy that I stop and watch no matter what is Gunther.
Yeah. Oh, good. That's he's my right there. Him and Samoa Joe are my two favorites. So I respect that answer a ton. I know that he has some detractors, but I love Gunther. Could watch him all day.
He's such a wrestler's wrestler. It's crazy to see in today's modern day presentation because you don't see it that much anymore. They tried it with Eli Dragunov too. Their two matches showed that.
Yeah.
Those guys are two pure wrestlers that go out there. They hit you hard, but not hard enough. You know what I mean? They bring the realism to it. They bring that old style territory wrestling back to the ring.
Sure. And
you don't get to see that often. Even with his, they say it's a gimmick, but the guy's from Austria. Like he's a foreign. He's a villain from another country. Like that's so old school wrestling right there. His presentation, his communication skills with the audience has surpassed what he was way before when he first started, or even before he got to NXT, UK days or anything like that. He's grown so much, and the fact that he took the effort to drop some weight, be more of an athlete appearance-wise. He's always been an athlete, though, and he's an old-school presentation wrestling should be, in my opinion. And he doesn't. You get it. Like you just watch that, and he is what it is. He's what it's all about. He's the go-to guy. And I think there's a reason for that because, again, I follow myself as a traditionalist. I think I love the territory days more than the modern days itself. Don't get me wrong. There's aspects of the modern pro wrestling presentation and talent out there that are having great matches and stuff like that, but very few can tell a story like the territory day athletes could. And I think Gunther, no matter what he does, he goes in there and he tells a story like a Bret Hart would. He's working an arm, he's working a knee, he's working a back for a reason. There's something building up to what he's actually planning long term versus move, spot.
Yeah.
And he's one of the very few guys that actually do that in ring. And that's why I will drop anything and everything when he comes on the television.
Well, I appreciate that, and we're getting up to it, so I want to give you a minute to give your plugs for your October show. And we're gonna wrap it up at this point. So go ahead and plug your socials. Tell everybody what's coming. Give us the rundown for the show in October.
Well, first and foremost, I'd like to say thank you to each and every one of you for taking the time to invite me on to your show.
No problem.
I know Butters reached out to me. You guys reached out, had me come on. And again, like I said, being the first ever Ontario promoter or a Canadian promoter on your podcast is a big deal to me. And it's very important. So I hope I set a high bar, a high standard on what you have moving forward. There's one answer that I'll probably never, you guys will let down that I never presented to you in terms of the worst name, but don't let that be the final.
Don't forget the question. Just shoot Butters a DM when you're ready and tell him what it is so we can discuss it the next time.
Perfect. Excellent. But yes, thank you very much. Hawk, Butters, yourself. I appreciate it greatly. It means a lot to me that we get to sit around here, talk about something that we're all very passionate about on a very personable level.
Sure.
You've asked me some great questions, and you'll give me a chance to plug NCCW, which is my baby, my pride and joy in terms of other than my wife, and my shoot job. But NCCW comes second. I guess my cat's in too, but I'm not that much of a softie. But NCCW, October 25th, Clash on the Coast, a special extravaganza. I can't use the word stupendous because I believe it's filed and trademarked, but I will say it's going to be a history-making event right here in Norfolk County, only one of its kind to happen, October 25th, Port Dover, Ontario, at the Port Dover Community Center. NCCW partners up with the Port Dover Board of Trade to present two events in one day, afternoon and evening show. We have meet and greets. We have professional training seminars for those that are trained and certified athletes. And of course, we have the Q&A as well with Jacques Rougeau. So it's a full day lineup with vendors all day long. A special event extravaganza, like I said, one of a kind, often imitated, never duplicated, type of event that only NCCW can provide with the help of the Board of Trade. Port Dover Board of Trade, sorry. And again, it's get your tickets online. Find us on social media at Norfolk Wrestling. We have promos uploading. We have storytelling uploading. And then we have our match highlights. We have previous events on millions.co, YouTube, free for viewership. What we think is economical. It's still more than enough in modern day for a ticket to come to our show. But more importantly, if you can't make it to our ticket and you want to check us out on YouTube at Norfolk County Championship Wrestling, Instagram, Norfolk Wrestling, Facebook, Norfolk County Championship Wrestling as well for all your highlights, details, catching up that you have to do, comments, clips, queries, concerns, all the above. And we're Canadian, so we're not going to retaliate in a negative way. We're probably going to thank you for any criticism, whatever it may be. If you love us, let us know you love us. Boom, we love you too. So thank you very much again for allowing me to plug all that. We got big stars coming in, like I mentioned earlier, EC3, Jacques Rougeau, Jody Threat, Steve Macklin, Al Snow, and Pretty Boy Smooth, all our local talent, the NCCW Heavyweight Champion, Pretty Ricky Wilde, now a friend, former foe, Wade Allen, KPK, the whole crew coming in to represent what NCCW is all about on October 25th, Clash on the Coast.
Awesome. JHawk.
Follow me on Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, and Blue Sky at JHawk, Instagram at JHawk1539. And if you want to see my picture from Cauliflower Alley in Vegas last week, everything up on my Facebook page. Do a search for Jared Hawkins. I usually pop right up with one of the first couple. So I got nothing else other than that for a while. So.
Charlie_Butters on Twitter from 6 to 9 this Thursday. Mick Foley meet and greet at Monsters in the Toy Box. We have a bunch of stuff there. Come out, meet Mick Foley, and get some stuff signed, get a picture. Be a good time.
All right, you can find me on Twitter or Instagram at JGold12. Please rate and subscribe, review wherever you listen to us. Twitter handle IWGuide1, patreon.com/IWGuide. Don't forget about our merch store over at brainbustertees.com. Gorilla Press Apparel doing customs at this moment. Changed up his Will's changed up how he's doing things, so he's going to be doing customs and designs. I think the website is down. Check out our podcast friends. We are part of the Main Event Wrestling Network, the Wrestling Junkies on the Mark Wrestling Podcast, and myself on Tuesday nights at 10:15 NXT Night Shift. It is a live Tuesday night show. This Saturday, we're doing 12 hours of wrestling, a 12-hour stream on the Main Event Wrestling Network. I'm leading it off with my NXT Night Shift co-host Kyle and Mr. OTM. He is the boss of the Main Event Network and one of the Sams from the Sam's on Wrestling in England. He is going to be joining us. Also, Charlie, our very own Charly Butters, is going to be doing, I think, 4 to 6. He's going to be doing card rips and showing off some of his collection. So check out any of that time. There'll be stuff going all day long on Labor Day weekend. At Odds with Wrestling, the card is going to change. The Super Fantastic Podcast and Marks with Mikes. Check out our other friends, Monsters in the Toy Box, Toyhio, Rubber City Toys, Neo Pro Wrestling, OKCR Creations, Stash Pages, and Pally's Beef Jerky by our very own friend Kaplan. That was a lot. That's what I got.
I was going to say, you put my handles to shame. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on Instagram. Yeah, YouTube. Woohoo.
I did forget to mention, we do have new matches up on our YouTube as well. We have the Triple Threat and we have the No Ring What's in the Box match that I know you wanted to check out, JGold. It's up there to check out. It was a very good match. Mikey and some guy named John put on a real fun No Ring show. I will say this to close out the show: life short, watch more indie wrestling.
See ya.
Don't forget to review and subscribe wherever you listen to us. Find us online at Facebook and Instagram at the Indie Wrestling Guide, and on X or Twitter at IWGuide1.